Aaron.
Yeah.
Why didn't you say it the first time I said Aaron?
Because it's pronounced Aaron?
You done messed up, Aaron!
Aaron is here. Welcome back, everybody, for more SPTV, where every day is a great day. Not to be in a cult. All right, let's talk about Scientology's tiny little angry leader, David Miscavige, being deposed. Was he deposed yesterday? Guys, there's been a lot of spicy developments in one of the lawsuits against David Miscavige. And I haven't really been doing all the updates because I actually haven't been doing as many videos as I want to do. And so many things have been slipping through the cracks. This lawsuit that we're talking about today is the Jane Doe versus Gavin Potter, David Miscavige, Church of Scientology International, Art Religious Technology Center, and Bridge Publications. This lawsuit is the one that got to the point where the judge issued a ruling in this case that Scientology's arbitration agreement was not enforceable, specifically because it was unconscionable. Now, there have been other lawsuits, and I'm just reorienting you to some of the things that have happened in this lawsuit. That's not what we're here to talk about today. There have been other lawsuits where it has been ruled that the arbitration agreement was not enforceable, but it was never because the agreement itself was unconscionable. It was because of things like the lawsuit was relating to things that happened after the plaintiffs left Scientology, and therefore they could no longer be bound by the arbitration agreement. So this lawsuit is huge for several reasons, but one of the reasons is what I just said. The judge issued a tentative ruling that the arbitration agreement was unenforceable because it was unconscionable. Now, before the judge could issue that ruling as his official ruling, it was only tentative. Scientology showed up to court and said, "Your Honor, we would like a new judge." And the new judge was assigned to the case. And before that new judge could adopt the previous judge's tentative ruling and issue it as his own ruling, Scientology, ever since the new judge has come on the case, has been dragging their feet and coming up with other reasons and other excuses and other things that need to be investigated and depositions that need to be taken to look into this and look into that. And so one of the issues that they raised is like, oh, Your Honor, we think the statute of limitations on this whole issue is actually up because Jane Doe actually raised this as a dispute back in 1992. And Jane Doe was like, "No, I didn't. What are you talking about?" And Scientology's like, "Yes, you did." And so this raised the legal issue of what does it mean in Scientology for something to be raised as a dispute specifically, right? Like, does mentioning something in an ethics interview count as raising a dispute or some other example? That's just a theoretical example. And beyond that, what is Scientology's procedure for resolving a dispute? So Jane Doe's legal team got the judge to agree to let them depose Scientology about this issue of what exactly is the precise Scientology policies and procedures governing raising a dispute, resolving a dispute, even defining what is actually a dispute. And Jane Doe's team asked the judge to provide, or to order the other side to provide David Miscavige for a deposition, since he's obviously the person most qualified to resolve this issue. This is totally separate from being deposed about the complaints in the case, right? The actual complaint itself. But just to resolve this issue of, and so like, we need David Miscavige, or, we could take the International Justice Chief, Mike Ellis. That would be acceptable. Who was the other person? Hold on, I'm looking through my notes here. Who was there was like three people that Jane Doe and her team wanted to depose specifically. And the judge basically ruled that she was going to allow Scientology to offer up what they call PMQ, person most knowledgeable, and that Scientology would get to decide which one of their executives was actually the person most knowledgeable in the entire organization about this issue. Now, guys, how is it not the International Justice Chief or David Miscavige who's the person most knowledgeable? So I don't yet know who precisely showed up for the depo, but there are some very likely characters, people who work for Scientology's Office of Special Affairs, who have repeatedly submitted declarations in any of the 5 currently ongoing lawsuits against Scientology. You have a Clearwater local, Sarah Heller. You have RTC executive, David Miscavige deputy, Warren McShane, who submitted declarations in many of the lawsuits and also in the Masterson case. You have Lynn Farney, a long-term Scientology executive and actually former staff member of Scientology's Guardian's office, believe it or not. He submitted a bunch of declarations, including in the Masterson case. And whereas I don't personally know who precisely showed up in the depot, I do know that it went so badly. It went so badly that Scientology's legal team basically literally claimed that some urgent emergency had just come up and they needed to end the deposition, even though they hadn't exhausted all of their time. And they will be coming back later to resume the deposition. Undoubtedly, the person who did show up is probably going to be scrubbing dumpsters and licking bathroom floors to atone for their horrific performance in a deposition. But I'll tell you what, even if David Miscavige himself is not the one who showed up as PMQ, at the last hearing regarding this, the judge said she was absolutely, is it he or she? I always forget. No, I feel like, oh God, I forget, guys. I'm sorry. I get all the cases mixed up. The judge said that if the person provided is not sufficient, that Jane Doe's team can come back to the court and ask for the real PMQ. And they're already on record as saying David Miscavige is basically the person most knowledgeable. And it's really kind of an interesting little pickle for Scientology, because they were just given an opportunity to literally pick the single executive most qualified to answer these questions. And if this person that they've picked shows up and shits the bed, how does Scientology explain not providing David Miscavige or not providing Mike Ellis? Now, what's interesting, again, as a layman, I'm just saying it's interesting to think that David Miscavige is one of the defendants in the lawsuit and yet may possibly be deposed for a specific issue like Scientology's dispute procedure, separate from being deposed as a defendant in the lawsuit. Just kind of interesting. Now, of course, David Miscavige's entire approach to this case is, what do I have to do with anything? Why am I even in this case? I don't have anything to do with Gavin Potter. I don't have anything to do with Jane Doe, who, by the way, is the same as Jane Doe 1 in the Danny Masterson case. That's okay to say. I'm not letting anything out of the bag. What does David Miscavige have to do with anything? I'm going to tell you what David Miscavige has to do with something. In fact, I'm not going to tell you. Lisa Marie Presley is going to tell you, and I'm going to share with you the text message from Lisa Marie Presley. Okay, this is something that's been in the public record and in many people's hands for many years. I'm not letting anything out of the bag by sharing this text message with you. There was even an episode filmed for Leah Remini's show with Danny Masterson's victims. This is an example of one of the, I guess if I want to say pieces of evidence that was going to be included in that TV show. This was something that was also included in the file of the Danny Masterson criminal trial. So I'm just sharing something with you, but I'm not like breaking this for the first time. Let me show you. David Miscavige, this is what Lisa Marie Presley thought you had to do with this. Here's the text from Lisa Marie. I have blacked out Jane Doe's name. Lisa Marie says, this is a text message to Jane Doe. It is naive of you to think that they wouldn't. You'll see what she's talking about. It's naive of you to think they wouldn't. You're not just a whatever. You know a lot of data. You were married to Gavin. You know a lot. Plus what you went through with your dad. Your family had money, all the stuff with me. Wake up. You're under surveillance by RTC, Dave, Osa, and the church, just like I am. That's right, guys. Lisa Marie Presley says she was being followed and surveilled by David Miscavige, the Office of Special Affairs, and Scientology, and connects the dots between why David Miscavige would be so interested in Jane Doe and surveilling her and following her and harassing her. It had very much to do with Gavin, because Gavin has very much to do with David Miscavige. Okay, let's see. So was David Miscavige deposed yesterday? Was he not deposed yesterday? chances are it was one of these other people, but them showing up and shitting the bed is one step closer to getting David Miscavige himself in that deposition chair. And whether that's a deposition because he's PMQ on the dispute issue, or whether this gets resolved and they move forward to the next stage and they finally get David Miscavige deposed as an actual defendant in this lawsuit, either way, guys, every day is a great day to be one step closer to deposing David Miscavige. Okay, let's see. Is there anything in my notes that I wanted to? Dun, 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 dun. That's probably it. Let's go through some starred comments and we'll wrap it up. By the way, the streaming arrangement on this video right here is the same one as earlier this evening. If you're watching on mobile, you should be seeing this in vertical. If you're watching on a computer, you should be seeing it in landscape. So far, I'm not actually pleased with how it's all going and looking. But we're going to keep doing this for the rest of this evening, and then I'll evaluate how it's going tomorrow. Okay, some starred comments here. Old Frizz, please let Miscavige be deposed. Northern Girl, the lengths they go to with their fuckery knows no bounds. Jen Kessler, so if the cult gets to decide, it's just a matter of who they're going to throw under the bus. Constance June, all these sticky noises. Any deposition of David Miscavige would be interesting. Love Maddie. So shouldn't David Miscavige have been the most knowledgeable? Captain Micromanager. REM Arts. I am on a computer and this is still in vertical mode. Is this another dual stream? If so, it's not doing what it should be doing. I know I don't quite understand what the deal is, but if you go to my YouTube channel, like the front page of it, you know, and you pull up my live streams, you will see that this live stream is listed there twice. And one of those is supposed to be a vertical stream. One of those is supposed to be horizontal. And YouTube is supposed to show you the right one based on what device that you're on, but it doesn't seem to be working. Anyway, guys, that's it for this video, but I'm still doing another one before the night's over. So hang in there. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right here. Bye.